Hey, I'm Margo, and today we're checking out the new device from Ableton MOVE. This is a standalone device, meaning it does not need to be plugged into the computer or connected to Ableton Live. You can kind of take it with you on the go. It's really lightweight, has a headphone jack, and it's just kind of a fun little music maker on the go. And today we're going to do just a little walkthrough. I'm going to take you through most of the main features and just have some fun with this device. I unboxed it earlier today. It does come with a USB-C cable to connect it to your computer, as well as a charging cable. Okay, so here we've got a brand new Ableton MOVE. Just unboxed it earlier, haven't turned it on yet. Let's take a look at what's on the back. We have a power button here. We've got a 1/8 inch audio out, so you can plug in your headphones, or in this case, I've got a 1/8 inch to stereo 1/4 inch cable. Then we have our audio in, which is also 1/8 inch, but if you have the right cable, you'll be able to, plug in a microphone or your guitar. And over here we have a USB-A to connect MIDI controllers, which we'll look into later, and a USB-C to connect MOVE to the computer or charge it. All right, let's turn it on. You're gonna get a little loading screen here. Hello. All right, press wheel to continue. So I'm going to press down, connect to Wi-Fi. So yes, this does connect to Wi-Fi, which allows you to kind of transfer your sets back and forth between the computer and other devices. So we'll connect to our Wi-Fi. Cool. And it's giving me the option to update already. So there must be a firmware update. We'll let that happen. After booting up, we open into the set overview, which is where you will choose either old sets to work on or start a new set. So we're able to have 32 sets, one for each pad, and the ones that are lit up here have a set in them. So these are just the demo sets that come with. And it's kind of fun. You can, without stopping playback, just cycle through your sets. And then to start a new set, you just hit an empty pad where it says empty set here. And then you can just press this 3 lines or hamburger button, whatever you want to call it, to get into session mode. If you're someone who's used push, this is the button that toggles you between session mode and note mode. So either working with the clips that you've created or playing the instruments that are on each track. So we do just have 4 tracks on this device, and that is the limitation. You can't have more than 4 tracks. I found it pretty fun to work within that limitation and just makes it really quick and easy to make ideas. So we get 4 tracks, and they become preloaded with instruments on them. First track is drums. Second track, they're typically giving us a bass sound. Third is something to play chords of some kind with. And the last one is typically a lead sound. So let's pick out a different drum kit. I'm just going to press down on the wheel, and that will take me into my folder of drum kits. Let's go ahead and use one of the decap kits. Awesome. Okay. And I'm just going to use the capture button to capture what I just played. So there we go. We've got 2 bars, and it guessed that my tempo was at 127. I'm going to hold down this shift button, which is the 3 dots over here. And you'll see when I hold that down, I get a whole new set of icons down here. This last one right here is our quantize. So I'm going to go ahead and press that, and it says 50% quantized. So we can press this icon here with 3 circles, and that takes us into a couple important settings. This is where we can adjust what the quantize percentage is. So I'm going to press down, maybe change it to 70. We can change the step grid, your count in if you're recording, and auto load, which is where it auto loads basically the presets that you're scrolling through in the browser. The quantize is what I wanted to change there. So now we're at 70%. I can quantize again, and now it's quantizing the clip to 70% instead of 50. Let's add some hi-hats. And for this, we're going to use repeat mode. For push users, you'll be familiar with this, but it looks a little different. So holding down shift, repeat mode is this button right here. So I'm going to press that. And now when I just hold down a button, it repeats at whatever my rate is. So here's 16th notes. All right, so let's play something. And I can capture that too. It says clip overdubbed. It added my hi-hats. Let's go over into session mode, and I'll use the copy button to duplicate this clip. So I'm gonna hold it down, press my drum pad, press my drum clip, and then press the spot next to it. Let's go into that one and let's add some more. Let's turn off repeat mode. Now down at the bottom here, the buttons we've been using with shift. This is also our step sequencer. This is a 16-step sequencer. Each one is 1/16th note. That can be changed in those same settings where we change quantize. So let's pick a sound and let's program something in or sequence it in with the step sequencer. So I'll press the sound that I want to sequence, and then I'll press the pads. Nice. Cool. If I want to turn down that one sound, I can just press the pad, hold it, use the volume knob to turn it down. We've got another really cool, fun feature here, which is called 16 velocities, which we can use in our drum kits. If I hold down shift, I'm now going to press this button here, which is like a divided square. And whatever sound I pick, I now have 16 pitches. And I can use the plus and minus buttons to go octave up or octave down. We also have groove. If you hold down shift, it's the two squiggly lines. Compress that, and we now get to add groove using the wheel. So take a listen to the hi-hats now. They should be swinging. Cool, let's leave some groove on. The groove is by default a 16th note swing. Let's get into the little display over here. So let's say we want to swap out this kit. Just try something else. So I'm going to press down. We've got 4 icons here. If I select the first one, which is our drum kit, press down, we're back in the folder with our drum kits and presets. And it just automatically loads, right? Auto load. Cool. And let's say we want to change to this one. We'll just press down on the wheel to actually load it up. So the first icon in the display is always your kit or your sound. The second one, which looks like a little waveform, is the sample. So in this case, it would be if you want to work on any of these individual samples, you will select that second icon there. So this allows you to swap out sounds. Maybe we want to swap this one out. So I'm going to select it, press down, and then now I can just scroll through and hear what it sounds like. Woo! All right, let's go with this like clap. And let's turn it down again. I don't know, it got kind of loud. Oop. The knobs here become the controls of the new drum sampler device in Live 12.1. So by default, the samples are loaded, the samples in drum kits on Move are loaded into the drum sampler. In previous versions of Live, the drum racks loaded up samples inside the simpler. So there's a new device which will have a lot of the same parameters you're used to hearing, like transposition, changing the start place of the sample, the attack, hold, which is just how long the sample is, decay. And then we have sort of a new fun section with playback effects. So these are just fun things to play around with, kind of sound design stuff. So let's say, all right, let's say we want to work on our snare a little bit. We can change the playback effect to, let's go with like 8-bit, for example. Cool. And there's a lot of other fun ones. Like these are just things you're going to have to explore over time. So there's noise. We got like a sub oscillator, the 8-bit, which is fun, FM, and this stretch is pretty fun too. You can get some really interesting kind of granular. That one kind of ended up with like a little delay effect, which is cool. So yeah, lots of fun stuff to play around with. And there is a whole second bank of parameters for the knob. So the first bank is what I just showed. Now I'm going to press shift. I'm going to press down on the wheel, and I'm going to choose the filter and setup bank instead of the main bank. And now I've got a couple more options: filter frequency, resonance, and then filter type, and then a couple other things that kind of affect how things react to velocity and your choke, stuff like that. So important not to forget that there's a whole second bank of options there. Back in the display here, we have 2 more icons. The last 2 icons on every track is your 2 effects. So you can have 2 audio effects on each track. On a drum rack track, or drum kit track, the first one is a send effect. So here we've got a reverb send. So this last knob is always going to be the send knob. So let's say, let's get this clap sent to the reverb. Right, so that's nice because then you can apply things to like your cymbals and hi-hats and stuff and not to the kick. The last one is an effect that applies to the whole kit. So let's take a look for a moment here at what effects we even have on this device. So I'll press down. This is all presets for the saturator, which was loaded up. I'm going to go back into my folder of audio effects. So here's what we've got. We got the channel EQ, chorus ensemble, delay, dynamics, which is like a rack with some compression and just dynamic settings, phaser flanger, redux, reverb, and the saturator. So let's throw on, I don't know, let's put something pretty obvious on here, like maybe just like a little delay. Just want to make it really easy to hear. Go with 16th note clean. So now with that effect up, we get the parameters for the delay on all of our knobs, and we can start to turn up the dry wet. Right, you can hear it's affecting the whole kit. Maybe we just want a tiny bit. All right, let's move on to our next track, which is going to be a bass sound. So in pitched instruments, we can either play in key mode, where we just kind of go up the scale left to right. If I press the shift button and I select the note icon, we can change our key. So we can maybe change it to like A, we can go with major perhaps. And then this is also where we can change from in key to chromatic mode. So in chromatic mode, you have access to the full scale, not just the notes that are in the key. So up to you the way you want to make it set up for you. And then you can go up and down octaves here with the plus and minus buttons. I'm going to program in a melody, bass melody, with my step sequencer. I think I'm actually going to go with a minor key. Nice. All right, so we've got our 1-bar bass line here. Let's check out this loop section. Turn this down. Let's turn the bass down a little bit. I'm gonna press and hold the track selector here. There we go. We're gonna press the loop button now and show how to add more bars. So we've got a 1-bar loop. By default, when we start programming in, it just kind of loops 1 bar. I can turn the wheel as many times as I want to add more bars, or even go down. And work with kind of odd length bars, which is sort of fun. You can make like polyrhythms and cool stuff that way. But let's just go to 2 bars. Now, because I pressed the loop button, our buttons down here are actually doing something different too. So it's telling us it's playing the first bar, now it's playing a second bar, back to the first bar. And let's say we had maybe 4 bars, you can see now, and we can press the first and last of where we want to focus on. Maybe we want to focus on bars 3 and 4. So now it's just doing these 2. But anyway, let's go back to the 4 bars, back to 2. All right, let's hit the loop button again to get back to our sequencer. And let's page over to the second bar. All right, now we can also change the length of the notes. So right now they're really short. So let's go ahead and maybe we want maybe this one to be long. So I'm going to press and hold, and you see now I get note length, and I'm going to just scroll and make it longer. Let's make it even longer, make it really obvious what's happening there. Cool. Let's make this one long too. Nice. All right. Now, depending on the device that we have loaded up, the knobs are going to give you controls over the parameters on that device. So this sound, it looks like it's made with a wavetable. That's that icon. The instruments that we have on Move are wavetable, drift, a melodic sequencer, and your drum rack and drum sampler. So in this case, we have control over the filter cutoff, resonance, pulse width, sync. Oh, this one might be drift actually. Maybe not. Ooh. Cool. Cool. And then we've got our two effects here, so we can. Right now it looks like we've got the dynamics effect on here. Let's load, let's do the chorus ensemble. We'll do bass chorus here, and nice. I'm gonna do the high pass frequency a little higher here. Let's talk about automation. We can automate parameters over time. So let's say we want to do the filter cutoff. Kind of have it open and close. I can hit record, get our count in, and just move the knob. There it goes. And then we can also add like momentary effects to single steps, which is, I think, a really cool little detail there. So let's say for just, maybe for this longer note, I'm just going to press and hold, and then we're going to adjust the, where was it? The sync. And let's just crank it up and see what happens there. So then just for this step, that's going to automate up. So we just get little like momentary automations too, which is really awesome, or per step automation. All right, on our saturator, the second effect here, let's just adjust this, the shaper type to, let's go with a hard curve, turn down the dry wet a little bit. Nice. Okay, we're gonna move on to chords, and for this I'm going to connect my keyboard to Move so that I can play the keyboard to play the sounds on the device. So first we're going to plug in the keyboard just with a MIDI controller into the back of our device here. And now I'm gonna navigate over to my chords track. This is like such a whack sound, so let's change this out for something. And now I can play it on my keyboard. I'm going to hit the record button here and then just start playing. There we go. All right, let's quantize it. Let's add some effects to make this piano sound better. Let's grab some reverb. Go over to session mode, and I'm just going to turn off my other instruments here so I can just hear my piano. Here we go. So the MIDI works both ways too. So we have it right now set to MIDI in. So let's go to our settings here. And if we go to the MIDI section, you can see it says MIDI in only. So that's the setting you want if you want a external MIDI controller to play the sounds in Move. But if we press down and change it to MIDI out, that's when we can use Move to play an external synthesizer. So you can do both, which is really awesome. So now we're going to get to the really fun stuff. There's a lot of fun ways to sample on this device, which is really cool. Of course, we have the audio input where you can plug in a microphone or a guitar or something like that. But we also have a built-in microphone on this thing, which is pretty awesome. So you can just sample your environment or something directly into it, which we're going to do now. My fourth track here, I'm going to swap out our preset for, I'm going to go back in the browser. Oops. I'm going to go back once in the browser, scroll down to templates, and we're going to pick the sampler. So let's try recording something. I've got my handy dandy French horn kazoo, and we're going to hit record. And over here, we're going to make sure that we're in, we have the microphone selected. So if I press down on the wheel, we can toggle back and forth between resampling mode and the microphone. We can adjust the gain if we need to, turning up the mic. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Making sure we got a nice strong signal there. And you can also turn monitoring on or off here as well. So now we're ready to go. And all I'm gonna do is press a pad and then just play my kazoo. There we go. Okay, so now we can do some adjusting the sample. So we can just turn it up. And then we can change the transposition. We can change where it starts to get like a clear onset if you need that. We can change the decay and the release. Now we've got a little bit more of like a plucky sound, and we can change, we've got some filter settings here. Nice. Okay, let's get some effects on here to get it really sounding good. I'm going to change this delay to the saturator, I think, and just get like a little more oomph out of the sound here. Let's go with rough tone. Okay, and then let's get some reverb on here. That's going to... Ooh. All right. The decay time was at 12 seconds. Let's take that baby down. Another way is to actually use the drum kit. So we're gonna just load up a different kit now, empty drum kit instead of the sampler. And now what I can do, which is pretty fun, is record over like a number of pads. And then that's kind of a way of like immediate sample chopping. I'm just gonna sing something in and I'll show kind of how that works. I'm gonna hit record. I still wanna select the built-in microphone, and let's just go ahead. So, so let's kind of edit each one. That's cool. I'm gonna make it shorter. Maybe let's just kind of get to this cool. So you can see I'm just kind of picking the part of the sample that I want. Remember, the first effect is a send effect on your drum rack. So let's grab like a delay. Let's go with, I don't know, let's do something kind of fun. Maybe fourth distance. Let's do like a dotted eighth. And then... So then we got like two that are clean and two that have the delay on them. And let's change this last effect to just a nice reverb. Let's go with like a hall shine, turn it up. The last thing that I want to look at is resampling mode. So let's talk about resampling mode. We can even keep this same rack here and just add a few more pads to it. So I can hit the mic, I can press down to change it into resampling mode. And now whatever's playing on Move, you can resample into these pads. So let's just resample everything that's playing, for instance. So here we go. Okay, now It's kind of crazy. You can like resample things in, add more effects to them. I can now like change this a lot as far as like, let's go to the sample. If I change the hold to really short. So now I can play in almost like a completely new idea. Like what if we just have our drums going? You can even try like repeat mode here. You can also save any devices as presets in your library in Move. So let's say I want to save this drum kit that I made with these like vocal chops and stuff like that. With my wheel, I'm going to select the drum kit or my device. I'm going to hold down Shift, and now we get an option for options. I'm going to press down, and now I can save the presets. One thing I forgot to mention, actually, I meant to do when I was doing the chords here, is that we also have a built-in arpeggiator in the repeat function. So I'm going to turn repeat mode on, and then we're going to go, you can either select rate or repeat. If you press down on repeat, you can change the style to an arpeggiator going up, down, or random. So just a quick note about session mode here. So yes, session mode is oriented differently. In live and on push, the tracks are vertical. In Move, they are horizontal. So let's make a few little scenes here out of the material that we have. So I'm gonna just sort of start copying things out a little bit. This is our delete button. So we can let's start without bass and without our samples there. Okay, now, so we have a couple scenes here. Now the scenes are going to be vertical. So to play a scene, you just kind of do a little swipe down. And you can adjust track volume, again, by just holding down the track selector and turning it down with the volume knob over here. And when you don't hold anything down, that's your master volume. We're now going to take a look at the Move Manager. So when you go into your settings, you'll see something called the Move Manager, and you can say how to access, and it tells you to go to move.local in your web browser, which we can do now. So the first time you go to move.local, you are going to have to type in a code that shows up on Move. So let's go ahead and do that. Cool. And then now we're in the Move Manager. So here's where you can check out your sets. This is the one we made just now. You can download them and open them up in Ableton Live. This is where you can rename them too. Awesome. And if we download it, and then we'll be able to open up in Ableton Live whenever we're ready. Let's go ahead and get it open. Okay. Cool. And then here's our set in Live. Sweet. So it's that easy to move your sets around. The other things in the Move Manager, very important, are your recording. So anything you record in through like the built-in mic are going to be here, load up, and you can, grab them and put them in a sample library or something like that. You can upload samples from your own library to be used on Move. So let's say you've got like a bunch of drum samples that you want. You can load them into this samples folder, and then they will appear on Move in your library of samples that you can load into drum racks or sampler devices. And lastly, we've got presets. So this is that preset we made. This is where you can rename it and do whatever you need to do. So let's call it, we can call it like vocal chops. And then after you rename it here, it will show up that way on Move for you. The last thing I want to show is that you can use Move as a control surface for Live. So I'm going to go into, again, the settings here. We're going to go to Control Live and press down. It says to connect Move to your computer via USB, which we'll do. Then you can see here in Live, we have the little bracket around our clips here in session view. And you can see now we've switched to session mode being kind of how it is on push and in live. So these green buttons over here now become your scene launch buttons. There we go. Each track has like 2 of the step sequencer buttons associated to it. So the first one will select that track. You can see in live it's switching the which track is selected. And then if we're playing, the second button will stop that clip. And then of course in note mode, you can play your drum kits or whatever track you have armed. And then if you have one of the devices selected, you can then use the knobs to select, to adjust the parameters. So for example, once I have this delay selected, I can now see the parameters of the delay and adjust them on Move. So we also have link, so you can, for live performance, link Move to your laptop or other devices, and everything will stay in tempo with each other. Hopefully that was helpful getting you started with Move. If you enjoyed this demo, remember to hit like and subscribe on my channel for more Ableton and music production and music technology content. If you have other questions, feel free to pop them down here in the comments and I'll do my best to answer.